Keeping it honest.
You are fake news.
Keeping it real.
I want to smoke some pot.
And keeping it libertarian.
I'm a libertarian for life.
These are the Fakertarians.
My superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Fakertarians podcast. I'm your host, John Hudak, along with Jeremy Kantorowicz and one of my sock accounts. Today we have on Matt Perez, who runs the Facebook page Anarcho-Synergy Ball. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
Good. Okay, so starting things off, just for anyone who's not familiar with the page, what exactly is Anarcho-Synergy Ball about?
Well, what we're mainly about is the synthesis of various schools of anarchism and using what they espouse in their schools of thought to make the most holistic form of anarchism possible, basically.
So what drove you to start it?
Well, initially, what happened was that I want to say around last year. This is roughly around the I'm trying to remember. The Area 51 thing that happened last year. I was not necessarily a identity crisis, but I was as somebody who was at the time would have identified as a far right ANCAP. I started to notice that specifically that I not only should anarchist society just focus on having the markets as free, but having a social safety network as well to and basically make sure everybody's quality of life was good, so nobody would fall through the cracks and have the consequences that would be bad. And with that though, I started looking into some left anarchist theory and such, and I was thinking like, okay, what is there any way I could synthesize these two? Because I feel like anarchists on the right have a lot of good points. I also feel like anarchists on the left have a lot of good points, and a lot of this was helped with my friend Anna Sosnina, who is an ego communalist, and so I was able to get a lot of more information on how left anarchist societies would ideally be ran, and just from that, finding the commonalities between the two, and just so it flows together as well as possible.
That makes sense. So what obstacles do you think there are to anarcho-synergy, and what, if anything, do you think we can do to overcome them?
The biggest thing is understanding. So like with the motives of production, I've noticed the first thing when we tell with a right libertarian, well, the first thing that comes to mind when you tell them what socialism is, they think it's the government doing stuff. But when you say that to ask them what a left libertarian what socialism is, it's when the workers own the means of production. So there's a barrier of not knowing what the people are saying when they see these saying these modes of productions. And I noticed that sometimes people do I see debates, people do use other person's terms, and they're actually able to come to a mutual understanding of what they're talking about. And sometimes I see people act in bad faith, but I think the biggest obstacle is like actually trying to understand what the person's like when they say the word socialism, capitalism, communism, what they actually mean by that. That's I think that's the biggest hurdle. After that, trying to figure out ways how like, for example, I don't believe private ownership for profit is mutually exclusive to workers owning the means of production, deciding what they do with labor, because there's a worker co-op can definitely exist in a capitalist society. I mean, I don't think there's any disagreement from that. And so technically you could be a socialist and a capitalist at the same time. Now, with that though, people just doesn't click with people with that because first thing that happens is that the whole it's I believe Ayn Rand would call this an anti-concept where there's so many different interpretations of the word, it loses its objectivity to the word, and it just becomes anti-concept because nobody knows what you're talking about at all. And I think that's the biggest hurdle. Also, with that, secondary to that is also property norms. Not trying, not trying to, not trying, but people unwilling to accept that there's certain instances that a certain property norm would make more sense to use than the other one. I could go on more a little bit about that like later on.
Sure.
But just not. It's just also with that. It just in general intellectual dishonesty. Just people not wanting. They just want to be on have their own side, just be right. When we're all on the same team, there's just, and that's against the authoritarians basically, and people just like, no, my side is it's the only true way of libertarianism or anarchism, and that's part of it too.
Yeah, like I'll chime in on that, and I think that libertarians, anarchists in general, we have so much in common, and we all focus on the tiny little things that we disagree with. We can agree on like 99% of something with each other, and that little 1% we focus on and we get so fucking upset about and butthurt about, and we'll argue with each other like ad nauseum while ignoring that we both hate the state, we both hate authoritarianism, we want to do something about that, but we get so caught up in our little squabbles. And it's like agorists and anarcho-capitalists, libsocs, mutualists, ancoms, voluntarists, we have so much in common and we can coexist. Like, we're not going to be in our anarchist society anytime soon. We're not going to have a stateless society tomorrow or, next year even, or even 10 years probably. But like
maybe 11.
Yeah, 11, maybe 11 years. Yeah. But yeah, we need to realize that, hey, guys, we can coexist. There's no one answer here. Like, you can have voluntary socialism, you can have voluntary markets or capitalism, if you want to call it that. Like, we can both exist simultaneously at the same time. All we need is to mutually respect each other and respect each other's rights to organize our communities the way we'd like. And what are your feelings on that?
Oh, can you repeat that, please?
Oh, sorry, which part?
Oh, just the very last part you said, like the very last sentence.
Oh, I was just saying, like, yeah, that's my general feelings on anarcho-synergism and bottom unity in general, is that basically we all have so much in common, whether we're agorists, we're anarcho-capitalists, libsocs, mutualists.
Oh yeah,
or voluntarists. And I think that's like kind of like the common thread is like, as long as we reject coercion and we respect each other's mutual right to organize our communities however we'd like, so long as we're not, infringing on the rights of others, I think we can get along just fine. And I think that's like at the core of bottom unity. And I think anarcho-synergy is a great way to approach that. And I agree.
Matt, are you familiar with the bottom unity stuff in the LP, Libertarian Party? I don't know if you're involved at all.
I'm actually not even registered for LP. I should register for that soon. But I did hear that Mike Shipley was trying to get something pushed in LP for bottom unity. I don't really remember too much about that though.
Okay, because it's kind of, some of it's the same concept, the idea of like on the political compass chart, people on like the bottom left and the bottom right working together. But I mean, I'm curious to see how those on the left that are totally against the idea of private property or something like that would coexist with people having private property. I mean, I like the idea in general of left and right anarchists working together, and I'm like more than happy to try to achieve that. But I just wonder if there's any irreconcilable differences there.
Yeah, I think I did talk to well, your screen name is Arizona on the group chat, but
I'm Arizona. We'll let the fucking cat out of the bag.
Sam already did that one time, I think. Or maybe I did. I don't even remember.
I'm sorry. But what was it though? I had a conversation with them talking about like, okay, I see where I see where these a lot of left anarchists are coming from, where they distaste for private property. And so like one of the typical things situations that they bring up is, for example, let's say if we were in a desert and I ran out of water for some reason, and I came across you and you had an oasis. I tried to bargain with you to get some water. Just tried to get you to voluntarily get some water. Get some water from you. And basically, what they would be pointing out is that you have you hold there's a power dynamic between you and me. You have more power in that situation because that your private property of water is you keep you have there's what would you call it a trying to remember the right term I don't want to say this is the exact term, but basically an ethical hierarchy. That's not the exact term I want to use. I can't remember off the top of my head. But in those situations, a life or death situation or life versus property occur, it is okay to violate property rights because it's the best thing that could be done in that situation. Obviously, it should never come down to this, and we should do everything we can within working in the and sticking property norms to make sure that doesn't happen. But there's also times where it just certain situations is out of our control, and that's the best thing we got to do. It's I was talking. What I was saying is like only relying on utilitarian ethics when it's the best thing that can be done in this situation. Or I doesn't need the best way to put it, but along the lines with that though.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting kind of compromise there. I could see the left and the right both having little bits of issues with it, but I mean, yeah,
and it's just only when this comes down to it's life versus property. That's the only time it would be, I'd say, more like acceptable to do that. Or if it's it's a little bit I still gotta kind of flesh this one out a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the concept of natural law, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if I was, I'm not going to go to an example just yet, but I kind of came to the realization that it's possible to be with your property. So, for example, the water situation, with your property, it is possible to be lawfully evil with your property, such as like the water situation. So it only in extreme cases where there's when one is being extremely lawfully evil and there's no other options left, that is only other than that, with additional force against you, acceptable to initiate force. But it has to be when there's no other option left, though.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about this, we were talking about basically that's kind of like you enter this. So we have these black and white ethics on either side, and we have this kind of this gray area, this gray void we have to fill in between, and it's ultimately it's going to come down to whatever community you're in. You're kind of subject to the whims of everybody around you. So if you got people that don't think X is all right, you're probably going to have to conform to that. And in the end, we can have our black and white ideas, and I will always, be voluntarist. I will always be, like I'll always be like a homesteader. But at the same time, like if I've got other people around me, I've kind of got to work with them. I've got to deal with them. And like we were talking about, I think if you had two communities side by side, if you say you had an ANCAP community and you had an anarcho-communist society, or a commune, or you had a mutualist like market mix in the middle, you could have all these things side by side. And I think if they work out just fine, but I think over time they kind of just mix. They would just kind of end up mixing together.
Playing devil's advocate with that, couldn't there be kind of an issue with tyranny of the majority there in some situations?
For like, can you give me an example?
Well, like if there's one community that just has totally backwards views on something, I'd have to think up a specific example, but like,
Like Jim's apple tree belongs to the community now. We've decided that, all of us.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah.
is that it's not a life or death situation, though. I mean, if even within though, if there's like a seizure of property, there has to be a repayment of it. I mean, I think in a free market society, there'd be a lot different options to gain some apples or for some food, where it doesn't have to come down to seizing somebody's apples. Now, if it could happen, possibly, but if you take somebody's property, you're liable for payment. So, like for example, like in that the water situation, whatever. I mean, I see it as a possibility just being thrown out. Like this is a waste of time for the court. Like, but just for the sake of the argument,
Yeah.
They just owe that person whatever it costs for that water, the fair market value of that water. But it can only be justified if it's a life or death situation.
Now, who would decide if it's a life or death situation? Is that like a court kind of issue, a private courts or community courts kind of issue?
Private court, but I mean, sometimes has to be done on the fly, and you just really that comes down to teaching each other having a good moral framework in the first place, and teaching that to your children and throughout society.
No matter what society we have, there's always going to be some kind of common law that's going to arise, and we kind of have to try to influence it to be more in line with our philosophy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the goal here. Is like ultimately we're kind of going to be subject to the whims of people around us, but we need to try to influence other people with our ideas and try to make our philosophy the one that sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what's your thoughts about that though?
No, it's an interesting idea, and I'm just curious how willing either side is going to be to compromise. That's like the sticking point in my head right there. Like I'd be totally willing to pursue it, but what if the far left side says no, we can't have private property at all? Like having only one exception is still tyrannical, and then the right says no, we can't have any exceptions because property rights should win out.
Yeah, and it's just I see they're causing if they don't find some sort of middle ground, we're not going to get anywhere. And if for example, if these far left and far right societies did ever get started, I think there's going to be issues that's going to pop up from just being too extreme with their property norms, essentially, or a complete abolitionist. Like for example, with the left, there was a complete abolishment of private property. I mean, I think that's going to be detrimental for the economically, because if you create a society where it's forced, like by force, where somebody else cannot work for somebody else in a situation where it just makes sense. It just makes the most sense for whether the person just, I don't really want a stake of ownership in this business, and just whatever the preference be, the circumstances of the situation, you're limiting yourself in the flexibility of in your economics, basically. And with the right, I could see situations like, for example, them basically not really on the right, like for example with the water, not being able to come down to a conclusion of what should be done in those situations, and just people. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it, but this chaos ends up happening, basically.
Jeremy, you have anything to chime in with? Oh, your mic's not working.
Sorry, yeah, I've been having some technical difficulties over here, but so I've missed some of what's been said. So right now, I don't have anything at the moment. I'm sorry.
So I'm curious, Matt, what you think of like alternative libertarian strategies that are out there. Like one we've gone after people for a lot is the paleo strategy, which is the idea of the right libertarians allying with either whatever you want to call it, the paleo conservatives or the alt-right or whatever, the new right, whatever they call it now. So what do you think of a strategy like that, and why do you think your strategy is superior?
So my thing is that I'm not necessarily against the idea of creating a pipeline from either left or right down to libertarian, but the problem is that from what I've seen, it kind of just gone into reverse though, and people just getting sucked in back to authoritarianism. And I have noticed though as well is that certain problems they have, like with the right libertarians, I haven't been so much involved with the left side so much, but them going more authoritarian could have been solved by having some left ideas being given to them to solve that situation. People usually revert back to authoritarianism. I've noticed if they don't have an issue with don't have a solution to a current situation. It's similar to what I was talking about with violence could only be justified if there's objectively no other option in this black or morally gray situation, basically like that. And the problem is that it could be either they think it's a morally gray situation, but it's actually a black or white situation, or possibly. I mean, it's a little bit different for the left, but I can't really think of anything on the top of my head. But I think I think that's it's going to take somebody, if that's going to happen, if you're going to use like that type of strategy, you have to have a lot of aces up your sleeve. So if somebody throws something at you, you don't end up getting sucked up and back up to authoritarian, basically.
Well, I guess I can kind of think of what like things that drive people to authoritarianism would be, for example, the border wall. People don't have an immediate solution to end all welfare without a bunch of people dying because of it, or being thrust into poverty. And so the solution is to maintain the welfare state and then implement authoritarian measures to keep people out. So I think that would be probably one decent example of how people get kind of sucked back into that authoritarianism mindset, because they don't have a solution.
Or people trying to get podcast followers.
Yeah, and
Sorry, Dave.
I've actually thought about that, and like with me, what makes the most sense is basically making the welfare state obsolete, in the sense of replacing with voluntary mutual aid programs. Also, with just if an individual is actually obviously taking advantage of the system, I mean, you could talk to them. You could build a counter economy, so the less money is being funneled to the state, so they can't really take advantage of that system anymore. To me, it's just like using a mixture of both left and right anarchist practices to take this handle this issue. Give me 1 second. I seem to have a
Yeah, no worries. Jeremy, should I read from that Wikipedia page for that? What was that thing?
Oh gosh,
it was like the ancient, like, was it like a snake or a shark?
It was like an old snake.
Oh God, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, because we were gonna do that because we were gonna accidentally go live once because we were having a tech issue. Oh crap!
And we didn't even have our guest wasn't even there?
Titanoboa. Okay, so here we go, guys. Titanoboa is an extinct genus of very large snakes that lived in what is now La Guajira in northeastern Colombia. They could grow up to 12.8 meters long and reach a weight of 1,135 kilograms. Fossils of Titanoboa have been found in the Cerrejón Formation and date to around 58 to 60 million years ago. The giant snake lived... Oh, is he back?
Yeah, I'm back.
I was reading from the Titanoboa Wikipedia
Yeah,
page.
fuck off, Matt. I wanted to hear about the snakes.
Give me one moment. I need
We're
to
a
grab some
snake
headphones real quick.
podcast now.
This phone call I just received messed up my audio settings on my phone, so I got to put some headphones on to fix it.
All good. So the giant snake lived during the middle to late Paleocene epoch, I think, a 10 million year period immediately following the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event. The only known species is Titanoboa ceratogensis, the largest snake ever discovered, which supplanted the previous record holder, Gigantophis. Anybody have anything to say about that?
Do not step on.
I gotta
snakes.
say, I actually had reptiles in the questions for some fucking reason. I was gonna ask whether mammals or reptiles were better. We're on reptiles now.
Yeah,
so
I think
I'm just gonna
I
go
found
on
this
about
page because someone
how I
asked me,
prefer
like,
reptiles.
I think it was a month or two ago. We had like an AMA on the page about what extinct animal we'd want to be, and I was like looking at extinct animals, and I was like, oh, this one's pretty cool. It had a total length of 42 feet and weighed about 2,500 pounds.
That's a big snake.
Yeah, they were
And
in
you do-
tropical forests in South America.
Wait, like 42 feet?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of it like an automotive equivalent.
the thing's fucking huge.
Yeah, you do not
What
want to
vehicle
step
would
on
this thing
snake.
size?
It's over a ton.
Well, shit, that's what we need. I mean, we always talk about no step on snake. This is what we
Yeah,
fucking need.
no step on Titanoboa.
Like,
It's just got a cool name too. Oh, there we go.
like the
Here's some
thing is
Titanoboa
huge.
for the audience.
Like, huge.
What else can I find about it?
Yep. That head.
Oh, they had a
Yes.
worm habitat.
I do not trust that fucking snake now that I've seen it. So.
It liked to live in like 90-degree weather too.
Were you guys trying to figure out a way how to clone a Titanoboa to overthrow the government? While it's gone?
Well, I'm totally open to that sort of scenario.
This is our new direction. We are going to
New
Jurassic
direction.
Park. We're going to Jurassic Park the government out of existence. I like it.
We can't just give away the pen in the
Well, that goes
podcast.
right back into the agorism that we were talking about. Matt was talking about, using the counter economy, using mutual aid or charity in order to displace the government. And I think fitting, cloning like gigantic fucking snakes to overthrow the government kind of fits right neatly into that.
Exactly.
I feel like we got to talk about this with Sam Coppinger the next time we have him on.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, we should. I bet he would be all in.
Okay, so let's get away from Titanoboa for a little bit. I mean, we can go back to it. But so Matt, do you have any plans for the page going forward, or any offshoots of it, or anything like that?
Well, let's see. I need to get more active on it, but I'm trying to get my work situation fixed right now. So I could work consistently. Then after that, I could come home and start working on the page. But the biggest thing is I want to get it blown up. I want to start. I hate to do this, but if I have to, I would give Zuck some money so I can start getting advertised way more, because I have noticed that I feel like that I have been I'm trying to remember the proper term for it, but it's like at first my page
You like some organic reach early on? Is that what you're talking about?
I didn't hear the last word you said.
Oh, sorry. So you kind of had like some organic reach early on, and it kind of got spread around the LP when that flag debuted and all that.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, I would just I would post in this volunteerist group. Like I think it's like the biggest one, and I would trigger ANCAPs, and they would I would get a bunch of tension on the page, but I got banned from there. But I was able to get the page grown without it though. And for whatever reason, every time I post a meme in a group now, it doesn't have nowhere near as much reach as I did before. So I think I'm being not word blacklist is necessarily the right word, but
Voter fraud.
so what?
It's voter fraud.
Basically, voter fraud.
Yeah, we're all victims of the fucking Zuck algorithm. He decides when we need to pay up, it's our time. We no longer get that organic reach.
Yeah, I don't even have a real Facebook anymore. I just use these hidden sock accounts to run the page. Guy got disabled a while back.
Yeah. Yeah. All of
Rest in peace. police.
Yeah, pretty much all of us do. It's because of the voter fraud.
Yeah, I won the election.
But basically though, yeah, it comes down to I gotta pay Zuck his fair share to get this page blown up.
We all got to pay our fair share.
Shoot. But yeah, I wanted to go touch on a little bit more about that using aggregates and mutual aid to
absolutely.
Yeah. Basically though, one of the things one of the ideas I came up with was that using so I'm pretty sure all you guys are familiar with the confiscation of homes principle, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So one of my ideas is that using labor unions to, for example, let's say if we worked at, let's say Taco Bell took received funding from the government. All right, the employees would that would give them just cause to use the confiscation of homes principle. So what makes the most sense for me to go about this is for laborers to create or join a labor union and use basically market forces. And I could go on more about my whole consumer union idea as well, but to get ownership of the of that Taco Bell. And with that, using it could be either from just having the funding to sue that the owner of the Taco Bell, the owners of that Taco Bell, or something along the lines of using that labor union to basically force the company's hand to not not to deduct money out of the person's paycheck to give to the federal to the government. So using a labor union as a way to bring about more gray and black market activity, essentially trying to use every chip away at every single inch and converting a white market entity back into a gray or black market entity.
Yeah, so basically, anarchists taking control of a white market corporation and then doing some black market or gray market shit with it.
Yeah,
I'm on board with
like
that.
it.
I like that.
Yeah, and with that as well is that with the labor union, we could, like, for example, one of my ideas as well using that labor union is that we this ties in with the mutual aid part. We use a certain percentage of our paychecks to fund a healthcare center for our town. People could come to as a need be, and basically give people healthcare that you could, like, for example, if they need a surgery, everybody chipped in to pay for the work, so people could use it from that town, so they don't have to have these issues where people don't have health insurance and they're basically fucked.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate again for a second.
Yeah.
So let's say we're talking about workers taking over a Taco Bell or something. What would you say about the property rights of the current owners?
Okay, well, it only my thing is that so you're saying, for like example, like for this is only like for instances where they collaborated with the government to
Say like
So-
this
Taco
Taco Bell was funding like genocide or some shit. We'll just say,
or not even necessarily defending genocide, but they were receiving money from the state, though.
So I'd be curious about where would you draw the line on that? Like, what's cooperation with the government?
I would say, like, for example, well, I mean, there's multiple different ways how it can be go about from, and you can technically make it like if you're worried that if the IRS coming knocking on your door for not paying your taxes you pay just because the threat of violence. I mean, that's technically cooperation, but not necessarily going on your way to oppress other people. So I I draw the line where you're being an active participant, where you're trying to go out of your way to oppress other people.
Yeah, that's kind of where I see it. It's like there's kind of a continuum issue there, but I see it as, we all use the roads. He who is without roads cast the first stone. So there's all benefits we draw from the state that we didn't particularly ask for, and we don't have the option to go to other things or things like that. But if you have a corporation that's actively using the state in order to keep out competition or to beat the consumer over the head, to force them to fucking use their service, or make it so that they have a more dominant force in the marketplace via government action, I see that as kind of that's like a definite yes for that's somebody that would be prime for that.
Yeah, so like I know specifically in confiscation and homestead principle, Rothbard mentions like General Dynamics. So military contractor. I mean, they specifically exist to get government contracts. So that would probably be a good that would be a good example there.
Yeah, Raytheon and Lockheed Martin are always my go-to.
Yeah, I think those are the easy ones. It just gets a little harder once you get past that.
Yeah, you have to find where does it end? You have to find that.
Well, and actually, I pulled it up here just because I got curious. Rothbard actually makes another example of Dow Chemical. And so Dow Chemical made napalm, but as well, such a small percentage of their entire existence was that. So then that becomes a question of, well, is that really a say all to say, yeah, they could be seized as well. So there definitely is a continuum. There's definitely a question as to what's where that line is.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing is though is that where we don't necessarily have to worry about, because with if you're using violence basically to as this problem, there's only so much you could justify doing, or else you'd be technically becoming blatant authoritarianism. So one of the things that we could basically not have to worry about that, instead of using physical force, using market force instead. That being said, is that I'm not sure if you guys have read my little I wrote basic synopsis with Anarcho-Synergy is what it's one of its core ideas is using consumer unions as well. So if a labor union and a group of consumers basically said that if you don't give over certain percent of ownership of this company to your laborers, you're not going to have anybody to work for you, or you're not going to have anybody buying your products. You'd be using market force to transfer ownership rather than physical violence.
No, I like that idea for sure. It would just require a certain amount of people buying
require a
into
threshold. Yeah, a certain threshold. And the how I have it set up, the consumer union, is basically act as a consumer protection agency, where, and it with that it would help, like for example, price gouging. It would help prevent situations like that, where like, well, if you don't agree to these terms, where you will help make sure there's even distribution of the goods to the these to your customers in these certain disasters, well, we're not going to be partnered with you, and you're not going to be able to make as much money from that. So like instances of that, that something like that, or let's say if a company decided to, put like make half the cheese be sawdust or something like that, and the individual on themselves. Individuals themselves, like they didn't have the financial power to basically to take on that cheese company, right? But if you use, the collective bargaining power through a consumer union to, file a lawsuit against them, you're going to have a lot better chances of winning that lawsuit, basically.
Yeah, I really like the idea of a consumer union, or consumer advocacy organization. where basically, you have consumers buying, getting together and they're saying, okay, we're going to use our collective will to basically bargain with, this company or this corporation, say we want things at a certain price or we with certain expectations, or we're going to take our business to your competitor or this or that. I mean, I think in combination with, market competition and actual market controls in a free market, that would be fantastic. But I think it's even more relevant in, a fascistic or corporatist system that we live in now, where we have cartelization of industries and we have regulatory capture, and we have these industries writing the regulations that they're being regulated by and being able to keep competition out. I think that's even more powerful now if you have consumers getting together and saying, you know what, we're going to go to your consumer who's behaving more ethically than you are, and we're not going to buy from you anymore. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. And I basically see it as replacing what the state would do to regulate the economy, how it should be done in a free society from the bottom up instead of the top down, basically.
No, I like the idea too, but we just got to be careful or we're going to scare the Mises Caucus.
I think we just red pilled a whole bunch of like Mises Caucus dudes on the confiscation and homesteading principle because they've never fucking read the goddamn philosophy.
Read the essay, Lolbert.
Fucking read.
Do you even read, bro?
I still think we gotta do that like video compilation where we have Hoppians read confiscation and the homesteading principle and film the reactions.
we need to do that.
Yeah.
I have a friend, like I actually got introduced to anarchism, specifically to anarcho-capitalism, through a friend who is he's basically a Hoppian.
I'm sorry.
Like, I mean, he's a good guy. He just I don't agree with him politically, but he actually went to American Nationalist now. It's like I'm kind of not surprised.
Same thing.
And what's that though? I forgot what was it getting? Oh yeah, I brought him up with like, hey, you ever heard of the confiscation and homestead principle? I was like, no, what's that? Like, bro, read this. And it's like it was just there's certain type of ANCAPs I noticed out there, and it seems to be a lot of them. They have a very, very simplistic understanding of their own ideology, and it just they don't necessarily, they're not well read at all. Haven't read anything. It's just like
Helicopter memes.
Yeah, and it's been a failure of ANCAPs before them to fucking educate them. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's literally just get off my property. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Right.
That's all they have, and like they have absolutely no praxis either. I mean, you can technically say the LP's the praxis, but like you can only do so much through the political system as well.
So what do you think about the current state of the LP? I'm kind of curious to hear.
You know, honestly, like I'm not necessarily against like, voting, trying to get like, a bunch of libertarians into the government, because it'd be a lot smaller gun that's being pointed at me compared to what they currently have, but it's still a gun. Relying solely on the LP to make this change, the society, I think it's dumb. We need to. Left anarchists have this saying where the individual becomes the state in an anarchist society, and I have a slightly different interpretation what they mean. What they say that it's the individual becomes the state in anarchist society because they take the responsibilities in the society instead of pushing it off onto the government. If that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that though, like just relying solely on the LP to solve all these issues, I mean, I think that's dumb, and it's not really too far away from what the typical Republican and Democrat does. We need to actually take actual action in building, the counter economy and the mutual aid networks. But with that though, I think what would make sense to you, like with LP to change its direction, is actually help get these 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 projects going, like help getting a mutual aid network and get the counter economy going, because like you already have all this. A lot of people already know. There's a lot more people who are familiar with the LP than they are with agorism. So it was like, okay, wouldn't it make sense if there's a mutual goal? You guys basically want the same thing. Wouldn't it make sense to help bring forth the ideas of Konkin and help to get that pushed, so more people we could be hitting the issue at hand. We can handle it at different angles simultaneously. Like, I don't understand why they haven't thought of that yet.
Yeah, it makes sense to me to we have this huge organization of libertarians, and we have some source of funding, even though it's not great. And I've come to the conclusion, like early on, but even more reinforced over time, that it's kind of fruitless for us to try to use their system to get what we want. I see the use of the LP as a soapbox for us to spread our ideas and maybe a little harm reduction, but mainly for messaging. And if we could use that for messaging and funding and actually doing things, create a counter economy to actually, participate in agorism on a large scale, I think that's our way out of this and our way to actually make some kind of, big impact. And the LP would be a great way to kind of start funding those things and backing those things, like think the Free State Project, but not shitty, and things like that. But yeah, I'm on the same page with there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about the LP. I mean, they got to change the strategy, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So I got a special question here. For the other hosts, I'm gonna read off number 13 here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, made in 1964, why do two ornaments inexplicably fall off a nearby tree and shatter while Rudolph and Hermie are talking? It couldn't have been an accident because the program was done in stop motion, so every scene must have been very deliberate. Both characters even physically react to it, but do not address it in any way, and it has no apparent purpose whatsoever. Thoughts?
I can't even fucking process that. I can't even fucking process that, and I'm reading the questions.
Isn't Sam the one who usually spreads that around?
Yeah, that's usually Sam that does that on any Ask Me Anything post. He never gets an answer either.
I wonder if that's been answered.
It is pretty thought provoking, considering like why would they animate it in, and then, but nothing happens. But I don't know if it's been answered. I guess I haven't looked too hard. Does anybody watching have an answer?
We'll wait and see. But another question: mammals or reptiles?
I'm gonna go with mammals.
Even with Titanoboa out there, he's a reptile, right?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I believe Stinks. I'll go double check on that.
I would be mammals until Titanoboa. I think we really, really, really need to resurrect that.
Yeah, in case anyone's just tuning in now, we had a nice reading of Titanoboa's Wikipedia page earlier. So if you go back, look out for that. It's really informative.
By the way, shout out to Archie. We see you and we appreciate you down there in the comments.
Yeah, we do appreciate Archie. Okay, we got anything else we want to talk about? What did you think of the LP's presidential ticket this year, Matt?
I honestly, I didn't really look into much. I mean, I only know like of the drama that people had with
for you.
Jorgensen, with like some of Jorgensen's comments. But like, I mean, Jorgensen. So far, I haven't seen anything wrong with Jorgensen, what she said. But although I haven't looked into it too hard, and I like that there was actual anarchists on the ticket. Spike Cohen. I mean, for the last few years, there was like, I mean, for Gary Johnson, what was that? I mean, I know he's technically libertarian, but like, how far like libertarian is he though?
We don't talk about Bill Weld.
I mean, well, Gary's better libertarian than Bill Weld.
Oh, God.
So there's that.
Like
Yeah,
Gary's
you
a
wanna see
moderate
this
libertarian, and Bill Weld's just Bill Weld.
I do want to say that we're definitely like Spike fangirls here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Spike has probably been the best thing for messaging. I mean, he has some issues here and there. We all screw up, but I think by and large, he has been like the best messenger of libertarian ideas the party has had in a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping he goes for it in 2024.
Hopefully.
There's that rumor that the Mises Caucus might run Dave Smith in 2024.
Oh,
I don't know if
my
it's
God.
true. That'd be hilarious.
He's got 4 more years to compile even more dumb shit that will be used against him. It's like,
Because all their other
I have enough
candidates they've
already.
run that have like the ones that have lost, they've at least had like some support from outside the caucus. Like they've had like some like redeeming quality here and there or something. Like Hornberger was open borders and stuff like that. But running Dave Smith, like everyone outside of the caucus is just gonna hate him. Yeah, that about sums it up, Archie. A lying SOB, backstabbing, unlibertarian. Oh, that's for Weld. I thought you were talking about Dave Weld. Same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be a candidate with definitely a hard ceiling on support.
Speaking of Dave Smith, Matt, do you have a favorite alt-right pandering podcast host?
I mean, I don't really know much about Dave Smith. I mean, I guess technically Molyneux, but like,
Okay, you go.
That's
That fits the criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I only seen like little clips of Dave Smith, but I used to like watch a lot of Molyneux.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I did too, like years ago.
Yeah, same here. I think a lot of us did.
And he was like, he wouldn't even support Ron Paul because he was like, he didn't want to be involved in status things. And now he's like, get behind Trump.
Yeah. That's fucking. And I feel like if you have that big of a following, I mean, then again, like Molyneux, from my understanding, he was a ANCAP. I saw he had a debate with Bosch just a few months ago. He still identified as ANCAP. So, I mean, I guess it still stands. But that being said, though, I mean, I think the biggest issue, if we wouldn't have this so many as much of a problem, like because, like, for example, that same friend I was talking to you about that's American nationalist. He when I brought him, asked him like, hey, do you know anything about agorism? And he's like, I don't know what that is, man. And my thing is that like, okay, like why didn't you as a stuff on Molyneux because my friend used to watch Molyneux all the fucking time. My thing is that like if you have that big of an audience, why is your only practice that you talked about is voting harder? Like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you talk about anything else?
Well, it's just funny because Molyneux didn't even used to be into that. I mean, he still had his weird, like, culty thing, whatever he did. I didn't really know much about it in the past, and I've heard stuff about it recently. And then, yeah. But he used to be, like, very anti-voting. Like, maybe, like, 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was really bizarre shift.
Do you think Molyneux even knows about agorism?
He has to.
Probably he has to know. I think Molyneux's whole game is that it's. I think he's a sociopath. Honestly, he kind of fits that whole like David Koresh, cult leader kind of mold to me. And he had that little cult. And it all makes sense. Like I've always kind of been suspicious of him. I never really latched onto him just because of that. And I was like digging into that back like 2012. Like this guy's fucking weird. Let me look into him. And like, sure enough, this is fucking cult. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like to me, it's like you've been around in the liberty movement for that long, and you haven't like talked about, and you had that much of following, and you haven't talked about agorism at all. Like
he's just surfing that grifting wave of alt right, the alt right grifting. He's just surfing it.
It's funny because he wrote this article in like 2006 or 2007, like basically debunking his current immigration argument.
Mhm. I have a question. Have you guys seen Vosh at all?
I know who he is, but I have not.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that Molyneux is kind of bad at debating after seeing this debate he had with Vosh. I can send you guys a link to it later, but it's just another I'm noticing like a trend of there's a lot of right libertarians who are just kind of bad at debating. Who's another one? Who's running for president? Adam Kokesh. I saw him have a debate with Sam Cedar. It was like, holy shit, this guy got demolished.
Adam's kind of notorious for being shitty at that.
Yeah, and it's like I kept him like, Jesus Christ, like he got fucking wrecked in this. And I seen another one he did, and it's like, damn, like what the fuck?
I think he did a debate with Molyneux.
He had that debate with Dave where he basically just like got everybody to watch his fucking show and was like scamming into watching his show, and it wasn't even a debate. I was kind of annoyed at that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I think I watched that one.
Not to hate on Adam. I think Adam's got some great redeeming qualities. I just think he's a very shitty debater, and I think part of it's because he's the way he approaches it is he doesn't kind of like approach it as like, you know, with his game face on, like this is do or die. I've got to actually put my best foot forward. He's like trying to find a common ground with somebody. No matter how crazy their fucking ideas are. I've kind of noticed that over. I've been following him since like 2007.
Same.
Iraq veterans against the war.
He actually got me into anarcho-capitalism.
Yeah, I watched Adam back in like 2011, and he was kind of one of the people that kind of pushed me to.
His man on the street videos were great. I used to watch those. Like the ones where he'd like fuck with cops.
Yeah, those. Yep, I remember those. Yeah, those were good.
And I hung out with him a couple times. I set up an event for him in like 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, I don't mean the shit on Adam, but
no.
There's some things that kind of annoy me, but overall, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there any more questions though?
Let's see what we got on this list.
I think I had your favorite color in there.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Yeah, what's your favorite color?
It's actually red.
Commie.
I was. No, what's funny was when I initially found out that the color for this is before like I got like woke on different modes of production. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like really upset that the color for anarcho-communism was red. It's like, damn it, it's my favorite color. But no, I get to have it in my flag now though.
Yeah, you get your way. You can have your cake and eat it too now.
I have my cake and eat it too.
I had marsupials question mark
in all
as
caps.
a question in all caps.
How do you feel about marsupials?
I don't know. I don't know. The utility of having a pouch on your stomach seems far too dangerous for any man in society to have.
I mean, you could like keep stuff in there.
We must outlaw marsupials.
Some kind of governmental framework to prevent people from like evolving into marsupials.
Okay, John Lane says he has a question in the comments.
What's your question, John?
What is John's question?
Okay, let's
Bad
pause
John.
for a second because I think there's a little bit of like a pause going in, so we'll wait for him to type. Let's see what we got here. Have you typed anything yet? Oh, what do Americans unite behind?
McDonald's.
I was literally going to say that.
Now you have to answer different.
Two-party system.
The Kardashians.
And the
my big brain answer is average Americans unite behind it, externalizing their power, other responsibility on other individuals.
Yeah, I get it.
That
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Push off your responsibility on the other people, and they'll take care of it. Even if
Do
it's
they all hate
ugly.
the government in Poland? The comment for anyone like listening to the audio is, so in Poland they all hate the government.
Right. But they didn't they just elect like a super far right leader?
Yeah,
in
isn't Poland where Molyneux went when he was having like his thing about how he likes white nationalism now? He was on the video. It was
yeah.
oh,
Poland
I've
was-
spoken out against white nationalism, but I'm an empiricist.
And I've been to Poland.
And everything was nice here with the white people.
Because they're experiencing some. I mean, because they have a history of not liking the communists. They do have a history of not liking the Nazis. I mean, and Poland has spent pretty much its entire existence being wedged between and just more or less shit on. I mean, they've not been a kind of an independent country for a very long time, or at least they come and go and they constantly get invaded. So they've got quite a history. But so yeah, they hate communists, they hate Nazis, but they also, and I guess the nationalism could be understood from that perspective, but at the same time, look what it's leading to is this very far right type of mindset, and so it's kind of leading to almost a regression in a way. It's not really advancing anything.
If anyone sees my face right now, it's not anything Jeremy said. It's the comment I just saw come in.
I'm guessing it's John Lane.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
I'm
yet,
not all the way bald.
So it says,
but I'm getting there.
So when I first came, a fag got smashed, and even the Nazis came to riot. Is that are you talking about Poland? Like, what do you mean when you first came? Is this like a coming of age story?
Did he experience like sexual arousal and orgasm because of this? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know.
Does John having an orgasm cause Nazis to riot? Like, that's a talent. I mean, I will be honest, it's quite a talent to have.
I mean, I would be taking advantage of that if that were me.
They came to riot because a gay guy got drunk.
We're probably extrapolating a little bit more information than is available at this point.
Way more into this than he even put himself.
Okay, do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I think Archie earlier was commenting about on both sides, like, or pretty much anywhere, you have people that are just kind of not very well read in their philosophy. They have a very basic understanding of what it is, and they kind of end up being the loudest proponents of it. And I think that's something valid. I just wanted to magnify that because Archie put that in the comments. I think that's valid both on like the LibSoc and ANCAP sides. There are a lot of people like that who just have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but they're the loudest ones, and they kind of undo the good work of the people that actually do understand that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still reading John Lane's comments. He said, no gay dude got beat up in the Nazis. Okay, so this is Poland, I'm assuming. No gay dude got beat up and the Nazis hate the cops so much they came to protest. I'm assuming he's talking about Poland because he was saying Poland was anti-government before. If he's not talking about Poland, I'm really confused.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Poland.
Are we going to have to do a fucking entire John Lane interview at some point now?
Yes. We're absolutely doing that. Okay.
I don't acknowledge the minarchists. Sorry, they're not real. Sorry, Archie.
Just like birds. Birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real.
Okay, so do we have anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up? We've got a little over an hour, normal podcast length or so.
So
anything that you want to contribute, good.
Oh, you Junk Honda, you wanted to talk about the justifying self-ownership through occupancy and use.
Oh yeah, I thought that was interesting. Okay, so usually a self-ownership is justified through the homesteading principle. And Matt brought up the point that you can actually, at the same time, justify it via occupancy and use. So go ahead with that.
Well, basically, your consciousness exists in your body, all right, and you're constantly in use of your body. So basically, what I'm getting at, since you're occupying and using that, your body, you own it. I mean, this is a different methodology coming to self-ownership, but it's kind of funny. You could you could come to this conclusion using a different methodology. I think there's actually I want to kind of talk about this a little bit. I think there's a place for occupancy and use norms, and in certain situations, such as like, for example, like the sea setting with the actual ocean itself. I think that makes sense where it's basically impossible to objectively prove that. Like with the mountain dirt that you created, that you basically homesteaded, you could prove that's yours because your product, your labor is right there, the amount of dirt. But with water, it's the fluid. It's the problem with fluids. It's too chaotic. Plus, you can't see it, especially
It's the same as air. We're talking about a non-scarce resource that we can't actually take claim to.
Yeah, and the only way you could take claim of it is if you actually separate it with the main body of water. That, like, so getting a glass of water in a get an empty glass of water and putting it in the ocean, taking out water. You could separate, because you have separated that. You could show that I homesteaded this water. So, and it kind of takes care of the situation. Well, it get to the briefly. For example, I think it makes sense for like oceans to be seen as a common property, because, and it actually helps with like, for example, if somebody was dumping a bunch of toxins in water, we'll have a ground for to stop them from doing that, because that's all our property in the ocean. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, I would say that you can own a space. You can own a particular slot of space, and you can't control the atoms that pass through it, whether they're water or air. But if you're doing something that can be traced to harm somebody else, like by polluting with a factory or dumping, dumping random shit into the ocean that happens to harm your neighbors, they can sue you for that, or they pursue damages. But yeah, I would say that you can't really own the individual atoms of air or water. Those are non-scarce resources, but you can own the space by homesteading it.
Yeah. I mean, that works too. I mean, that definitely works. One of the things I think though is that, like, for example, do drilling rigs, do they typically, I don't know if any of you guys would know this, the answer to this, but for offshore drilling rigs, are they typically they have a foundation that holds them both down?
They're anchored in place. Yeah.
For example, I think with that, if you have something anchoring you in place, you probably make the argument, just for the sake of brevity, that any water that's holding you up from that, holding that whatchamacallit,
platform.
Between that platform is basically theirs. It is. I mean, the anchored. You said the anchored. Are they floating, or they're?
They're actually I think they're actually bolted, and they have a foundation, or they have these long pillars that go into the earth underneath the ocean floor.
Yeah, I mean, you put something along the lines of it being what's the word? Encirclement of the property. For example, if you homesteaded the area around a lake, that was version. You basically, for the sake of brevity, you can say that's your lake, because you took in the property that's around it, basically.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, encirclement.
You've kind of homesteaded the use of the area around you. I can see the people have talked about also homesteading noise rights. Say you moved into a place at one point, let's say 5 years previously, and all of a sudden somebody builds an airport right next to you, but you've Walter Block brought up this argument that you could have homesteaded the noise rights and say you don't like that the airport is producing shitloads of noise right over your house, like they're violating your rights. I don't. It's kind of contentious, but that is a like a point of contention, and I believe Walter Block actually brought that up about homesteading things like that, like the noise around you or other things like that.
Oh yeah, because like that's. I mean, do we own our energy?
The water that would like sustain your the thing. Well, you can say the same thing with like a river, right? Like if somebody cuts off the flow of a river way upstream, they're violating your right to that river, and I think that's valid. Like on a river.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. But yeah, I can't really think about anything else to talk about. If there's any more questions about anarcho-synergism, like feel free to ask.
No, I think I'm good for today.
Okay. I think we're pretty much wrapped up then. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, like in closing about the page or anything like that?
I need 2 more likes to hit 2,000. So if I could get 2 more likes than that, so we can finally hit 2K. Because I'm
gonna go see if I like the page right now because I'm on a sock account.
Yeah, if you guys didn't, I'm gonna be very upset.
Well, I'm on a sock account, so I'm gonna. Okay, wait. You're at 1999. I'm gonna be 2,000 for my fake account. Boom.
19. It's at 2,000 now.
I think so because it was at 1999, and then I clicked like on this account I'm on right now.
Oh hell yeah! I've been struggling to get to that 2,000 mark. It's been going like down like by 100 and shoots back up. Then like I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, I've got a page too that that's just got some real crazy inconsistencies and just these total huge losses. And I think Facebook is doing very hard because like you can see where your losses are coming from, and a lot of them are from like deactivated accounts. Not even just like unlikes anymore. It's literally from deactivated accounts.
Yeah. No, there's been a lot of that.
That's the first time Facebook is actually losing users on net.
Yeah, I figured it was from the massive deactivations that they were doing.
Yep,
we got hit because it's voter fraud.
Voter fraud. It's all voter fraud.
It's all voter fraud.
Fakertarians won the election.
Sad.
I heard something about Trump actually won the election. Like he legitimately, like some state, like found that he won, and he actually won the election. I don't know. I haven't looked into that though.
No, there's Pennsylvania. If we want to get into legal stuff right now, I'm happy to, I guess. So he lost his suit in Pennsylvania. It was in federal court. Well, it got dismissed, and then that was held up in the Court of Appeals. So technically, it could get this to the Supreme Court, but I don't even think they're going to take it. But the Pennsylvania, I think it's just the Pennsylvania Republicans were challenging the constitutionality of expanding mail-in voting without a constitutional amendment in PA, and the judge thought that had enough of a chance to be like a legitimate claim to have an evidentiary hearing. So they put an injunction on it for now. Like they can't certify the rest of the results or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But I honestly like I think it's coming up sooner. It might have even been like yesterday, the evidentiary hearing. So I don't know what happened with it. I think
in Georgia, they had a recount already, and Biden actually gained votes.
Yeah, I know in one state, Biden gained votes. Like Trump paid $3 million for a recount. And
yeah, that was the Milwaukee County, Wisconsin recount.
Oh,
he literally paid about $22,000 per vote.
But even with that Pennsylvania thing I was talking about, the chances that they're just going to flip it, like that, I don't think a court would even do that. It would be too extraordinary of a remedy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been brought up in some of the decisions I've read. Is that it's just it's not. They're not
going to disenfranchise like half the state or something like that. Like they might throw out mail-in voting for the next election without a constitutional amendment. But especially since it's just a procedural thing and not even like something, it's not even like about, that case isn't even like about fraud or something. It's literally about, did the state legislature have the power to enact this? And especially since it's after the election and not before, like maybe if it happened before the election, they might have said, okay, no mail-in voting, but
right.
Yeah. So that's our constitutional law for the day.
I will add that there's probably still the likelihood that we might get to see what happens when a president doesn't leave office when he's supposed to. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, for meme purposes only, well, not for actually me making a meme, but just for the joke of it, who do you want to win, ironically, for the presidency out of the duopoly?
I was rooting for Biden this time around just to see Trump get dragged out of the White House. Would be kind of funny.
I honestly am reveling in the chaos.
Have Hoppe come in and say physically removed or something like that. Free helicopter ride for Trump. I'm gonna have the Secret Service at my door now. It's a joke.
I kind
You
of
guys are already on a watch just because of me.
a part of me, like, for this is just for like the meme purposes. I feel like if Biden was to win, the more left wing people would get be pacified because of that, and I kind of don't want that to happen because I want to see some more police stations burnt down. So that's why I kind of for as a 2D chess or 5D chess, whatever it's called. I want Trump to win, so I could get more left wing people to burn down police stations.
My biggest worry is that everything's just going to go back to normal, and none of these reforms that people have been calling for are going to get done.
I'm worried about that too.
Yeah, I mean, look at who Biden's throwing in, and
it's going to be Obama's third term.
And it's basically going to be Obama's third term. Bush's, for fifth. I mean, you could probably kind of throw Clinton in with neoliberalism is just a cancer.
Sorry,
you hear
Sam.
that, Sam? You're a fucking cancer.
And
said it.
And it just keeps growing, and it just doesn't die. It just needs to go away. So, yeah.
You just got to nuke the world, bro. Anarcho-Synergy, bro.
Nuke the world. Harry Truman, war criminal or not?
I don't know too much about. Honestly, I don't really know too much about state, politics history.
Well,
that's
he was
not
the
my.
one that dropped. He was the one that authorized dropping the nuclear bomb on Japan.
Fuck.
Okay, so we'll say this. The president that authorized the nuclear bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, is he a war criminal?
I think that's a bit like. I mean, damn. Do you think there was more there would be more lives lost from like not dropping the bomb, or I don't know.
I don't even think that's a question they should be able to ask if they're going to be killing civilians.
Yeah, it is civilians too as well. If it was just like some secluded like fucking base.
No, it wasn't. It was major cities.
Yeah, I know it was major cities, but like I was saying theoretically, if it was some major like military base, then okay, it's only people who are combatants. But that wasn't the case. I'm gonna have to say war criminal on this one.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, it was 20,000 soldiers killed in Hiroshima. So there was obviously a fairly big military target there. But along with that was between 70 and 126,000 civilians killed. And then Nagasaki was 39 to 80,000 killed, but only 150 soldiers. So, I mean, that was just a straight up bombing of a city. Like,
yeah, that's without even mentioning Operating Meeting House, which was the firebombing of Tokyo that killed over 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
John Lane's complaining in the comments about how we can't ask questions or something. I'm not really sure.
Ask away, Johnny boy.
Yeah. Okay, let's give him a minute. Okay, I got that Titanoboa Wikipedia article up. So there's actually a full-scale model replica of a Titanoboa in Grand Central Terminal in Midtown Manhattan. Or there was on March 22nd, 2012. It was a promotion for a TV show on the Smithsonian Channel called Titanoboa Monster Snake, which aired on April 1st, 2012. Oh wait, we just lost Matt.
I've learned more about
Matt
Titanoboa than ever. Yeah, we did lose Matt. I have no
and then
there we go.
80,000 to 130,000 in the firebombing of Tokyo.
John just called us dicks.
Oh,
John, do you want to come in?
I thought the combined fire bombings, like total, killed like about 1 million people. Maybe I was wrong.
There's over 1 million homeless.
Shit.
Yeah,
My memory should.
136. So yeah, 350,000 civilians that were killed in just those three major
Maybe
actions.
I'm conflating it with like strategic bombing.
So that's
in general.
Yeah, you can't tell me 300,000 more people would have died at that point in the war.
Okay, so John Lane just said, "Let's go." Do we want to do this?
Do we want to pull him in here? Will he come in here?
Yeah, okay. Give me a second. You guys stall for a second. Let's do this.
Matt, what do you think about the Titanoboa?
We gotta resurrect that motherfucker.
Valid strategy. Honestly,
We need to combine its the genes of a coral snake with a Titanoboa.
Just so we get the colors. Yeah.
Yes, so we have a giant coral snake that fucking erects the government.
We'll have the black, the yellow, and the red on a fucking gigantic snake, and that gigantic snake is going to save us from the state. I love it.
Archie's dropping history facts in the comments right now. We need to have him be like our resident historian.
Yeah.
I want to make an executive decision in making the coral snake Titanoboa hybrid official animal of bottom unity.
Sounds good. So John Lane, I sent you the StreamYard link from the page. So if you want to come on in. We'll be here. We'll give you like a few minutes.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm Matt. I know you didn't sign up for this, but you're victim to it now. I'm sorry.
we are known for surprise guests.
Yeah, Sam always gets mad. We brought Spike Cohen on.
Unplanned. How can you complain about Spike being on? I mean, come on. You've got to.
What did he say?
Saying, "Let me school them all."
If Archie's not the resident historian, then Jameson definitely isn't. It's not helping me any.
I'm just a Wikipedia reader. No historian here.
I am not saying Wayne. I am saying Lane. Just to
John
clear that up in the comments.
We're going to have John Wayne on here, guys. We're going to talk about the Searchers and what a monumental.
We'll just have him on for a little bit, and then we'll wrap up, because we were going to wrap up like 20 minutes ago, and then we started talking about the Pennsylvania Constitution and fucking Nagasaki. We've really covered a lot of ground today.
Can we casually mention that Sam could not say that William Calley, the lieutenant convicted for the war crime of killing civilians in My Lai, was convicted of a war crime? Sam could not say that was a war criminal. Just going to make a note of that.
Archie's saying, speaking of 2024 tickets, thoughts on Sharp Spike 2024? Can we flip it?
Yeah, Spike's got to head that. Larry's all right, but
yeah,
I don't have that Spike energy.
Yeah, like I think Larry seems like a nice guy and all, but here we go. We have John Wayne on the podcast.
John Wayne, everybody.
What was that?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
You gotta turn off your.
You know what it's like tossing stones from a distance? It sucks.
I bet.
It sucks to toss stones from a distance. I don't like it.
Why is that? You got to turn off the stream, because you're echoing right now a little bit.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got the headset. Hold on.
Okay. This will be fun.
Headset. Oh yeah, watch this.
Wow, that is quite a delay.
Yeah, I told you there's a delay.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Am I with you guys?
You are?
You are.
Welcome.
All right.
So,
I guess let me click off the fucking stream a little bit.
Okay.
So, hey, look. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, motherfuckers. I am. I live on the internet.
Time or whatever.
No. All right, come on.
Beyonce,
That
the
was
best video of all time.
That was a little. All right. Okay, that was a little rude, but we're not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying, you know, I don't like to toss stones from from afar, and that's not what I've been trying to do. It's just I enjoy what you guys are talking about, and I think it's relevant, and and the internet doesn't really provide an opportunity to like chime in often, but you guys, that's the thing I really liked about your guys' cast is like you didn't just ban motherfuckers for talking shit. And that's really what I did at the first part. I was just like, I just jammed in and was like, fuck you, muscle shirt guy. And you baldy son of a bitch. You might be good looking, but fuck you anyways.
That's nice.
So,
at least you think we're good looking.
All right. We don't have to give him too many compliments. It was just like, whatever. But I was, so the reason I wanted to jump on the cast is because I like the shit you guys talk about because it's real. And you didn't really you guys would interact with the people that were in the comments, and that was, I think this is the first podcast that I ever like tuned into that did that, and so that was real dope. And I think that's something you guys should really focus on, like in the future, like always try to engage the motherfuckers that disagree with you, and maybe they're retards, maybe they're like me and they're retards, and you guys can just smash them logically. And it's dope, and it works out, or maybe not. Who knows?
It's possible.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Baby? We don't know.
No one
we gotta roll it. We gotta roll the dice. Gotta roll the dice.
So, what do you think of Titano Boa?
I don't even. I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you, dog. I don't even know what the fuck a Titano Boa is.
That was like 50% of the podcast.
So it's a 42-foot long extinct snake that weighs 2,500 pounds.
Yeah, but what do you know about that fucking weird ass like that thing that was like a Yeti that they were talking about, the Joe Rogan podcast? It was like I don't know, fucking
Alex Jones.
It was like an episode kind of like that. It was like an episode kind of like that.
Is that the Yeti?
I don't know. Like it was just like a big ass gorilla motherfucker that used to just smash motherfuckers and eat them. I don't know.
And he has a bunch of Sandy Hook conspiracies.
I think that might have been Alex Jones. I think that might have been Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is
We're not talking about the same Yeti. One lives in Texas and the other one lives in Storybook. You know what I mean? This is two different Yetis, nigga. We're talking about the two different things. But yeah. But so the reason I wanted to jump on the cast is I know one thing I respect about you guys is like you guys always talk about like real shit, but kind of in like a real conversational way. You don't let the politics get to you. You're just trying to have like a conversation between like dudes or friends or however motherfuckers say it now. I don't know what's allowed or whatever. But
we call them borthers.
Oh yeah, border. You know what I mean, okay? You know what I'm trying to say.
No, I get you.
So, like, so that to me was always interesting. That was like, because you can't find that on the net. Like, if you try to like drift off into YouTube or something and like try to find two real motherfuckers chatting about something right now, like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No, it's just a bunch of Dave Smith videos,
dude. Dude. Oh, dude, I didn't want to go there, but oh man, that's exactly what it is, and even worse.
Oh god,
like you're sitting there, you're just surmising the possibility of like maybe Israel doesn't just keep absorbing all the land around them, and then there's Ben Shapiro on your news feed, like talking about how things are all great. It's like you must, buddy. Like, come on, like, buddy, come on. It's only the Bible. Like, you must pay attention. Like, all right,
now his wife is really dry.
What? You know what I mean?
I do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't gaslight me, you bastard. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
Do you have a favorite color, Mr. Lane?
If I guess If I had to answer that question honestly, and normally I would not do that because I've been in sales my whole life, I would say black. And the only reason I would say black is because it absorbs all things. And the only thing that actually matters to me in politics is unity, because I know that's what destroys our nation. Divided we fall, united we stand, right? And that's one of the things that I really liked about your guys' podcast, because like you guys kind of always made fun about this, about the Libertarian Party, which I always kind of like, I always stood on the outside of the Libertarian Party, but I always thought this was kind of cool about your guys' podcast, because you always kind of made fun of the weirdo like the intricacies that dealt with the Libertarian Party when it shouldn't have even been there. And you guys just kind of like made fun of them. Like, you're like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, aren't we supposed to be like a team, unity, or something like this? Like, and I think you guys were just saying something about that, like bottom unity or whatever gay ass shit that was.
Yeah, it's bottom
like
unity,
like,
or Anarcho-Synergy.
yeah, well, like whatever, dude. Like, I don't know what the fuck that faggot shit is. I came from the woods. I don't know anything about that.
They don't have words in the woods.
No, we have them, but like we just don't like talk about anything.
Not a lot of big
like,
ones.
Yeah, you just. Okay, nigga, that was fucking. If you want to just right hook people out of nowhere, that's how you're gonna do it. You're just gonna fucking right hook niggas like Tyson out of nowhere. All right, fine. That's
Mike
how you
Tyson's
wanna-
fighting tonight.
I think
Okay,
you'd be
fine.
great-
No,
I think
listen,
you'd be
I
great on a
understand.
podcast with another friend of ours, Mr. James Ogle. I think you and Mr. James Ogle would make a great combination for a
They
podcast.
would.
You know what? I actually think I've been on a podcast with Mr. James Ogle, and I'm not really a fan of his.
Why?
I think
he-
he's retarded.
Was he in the Denny's?
No, yeah, he looks like a type of nigga that orders waffles at 2 a.m. If I had to be honest. But
What's
I
wrong
think
with that? This is a Waffle House friendly podcast, by the way. So,
well,
waffles are-
if I had to be 100% honest with what's wrong with ordering waffles at 2 a.m., it's like at 2 a.m. you should be like, you got to be ducking and dodging like bullets and weaving like the miscreant vaginas that come your way. Like there's a lot of shit,
What woods
at
do
2
you live
a.m.
in?
Huh?
I said, what woods do you live in?
No,
You live in a very
you mean what woods was I born in? And I was
Yeah.
born in Alaska.
Oh.
So the darkest of all woods, like the deep.
And there were a lot of bullets at 2 a.m. there?
No, there was a lot of Eskimos, nigga, with meth problems and shit.
I
That's
could
what was
see how
going
that
on.
could devolve into bullets.
Yeah, so
Bullets
you
and
know what I mean? Like it's like a continuing story, You know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah. Seems to make some sense.
But but here's what I wanted to get to, and I know all this is like little funny games and whatever the fuck we're talking about. But let me ask you guys this, because this is maybe I'm retarded, which is probable, to be honest. If I had to be just real about it, it's probable. I could be retarded. I don't know. I've been in the woods and in Poland for a long time. And even before then, I was in Russia, like Siberia, like the deep woods, and they look where the wind blows and blow your nose off. And so what I would ask you guys is this, like, what do you guys think about this? Like, do you guys really think that this old ass senile man somehow got more votes than Obama? Like, am I retarded? Am I the only motherfucker thinking about this?
Well, it was easier for people to vote this time around because of mail-in voting, because a lot of the times people would just skip going to the polls. But if they could just
Okay, cool. But this is all the good shit. This is where we want to go with like what normal people would say. You're talking of like what some nigga on Fox would say. Okay, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you like from deep down in your soul, as a motherfucker with a brain and like a heart. Like are we really gonna say, like, in the height of all of Obama's popularity, somehow Joe Biden eked out more votes than he did ever? Because I'll be honest with you, I was a racist, dog, and I voted for Obama. Like I legit came down off the mountains, like off the Idaho mountains, bro. I've never met a black person in my whole life. Never even seen one. Didn't know nothing. The only thing I ever seen was on rap videos. Never even heard about a black person, bro. And when I saw Obama, bro, I was like, damn, this is the truth, bro. Like, this is real shit. Like, everything's about to change. Like, this is good. That's what I thought. You know what I mean? So I was just wanted to ask you guys because maybe you guys are smarter than me or something, or I don't know. I don't know nothing really.
So in the 2012 presidential election, Obama received a total of about 66 million votes, and Mittens received about 61 million votes. So you're looking at about 13, 14 million more votes in this election than the 2012 election. Over 8 years
but now,
and
so
easier
all right,
voting,
listen.
it's really not that big of a surprise.
All right,
that
so
26 more million people would have voted.
Yeah,
this
no,
year
and I feel
than
you,
8
and I
years
feel,
ago.
and I feel what you're saying. But now, okay, so just let me break it down to you like a retard's terms, because I want you to, I got to bring you down to like where a moron thinks, like I got to bring you down to my level, and that sucks for you, I know, but I got to bring you down to where I'm at, like so you got to think like now like a farmer or like a fucking trucker, or you know what I mean? So
Hell yeah, brother.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's where I'm trying to bring you. And I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this to you guys because I know you motherfuckers are out there and you guys, you like your clothes and shit and you're all fancy and whatever. But I just had to bring it to you like this. And so think right now, like, so we're honestly going to say this dude that sat in his house this whole time, somehow this guy during the height of his, like during all this shit. Okay, we hate Trump. He's a dirtbag Negro that loves vaginas or whatever and plays golf or whatever. Nobody cares. Like, it doesn't really matter what the fuck he does. He's an idiot. And then but we're gonna assume that that Joe Biden gets more votes than Obama during when Obama was Jesus Christ, bro. Like, I used to remember waking up, dude, and I'd be hearing like my liberal friends be like, "Oh my God, it's such a good day to be alive when my president is Obama." Like, so I remember that. Could you imagine that?
I can imagine. But imagine if there's only one day you can vote, okay? Like, let's say that's one scenario. And then you might be busy that day. The weather might be bad that day. Who knows? It's like icy out. You don't want to drive anywhere. It's raining. And then imagine if there's two whole months where you can vote anytime. And then imagine, too, that instead of actually going somewhere, you can literally just get something in the mail, fill it out, and put it back.
Oh,
yeah,
so
even
you think
in the mountains,
okay,
Idaho,
okay, so
Alaska.
You know what? All right, so hold on. Let me just kind of like surmise your take real quick, because and I didn't want to cut off the other dude. I don't want to like. I'm not trying to like run the show or nothing like that. But I only wanted to like be a part of this only so I could pick your guys' brains, because it really matters to me. Because I really don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I don't know nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just like a dumb retard in the fucking woods. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to figure it all out. But so what you just said right there, then, so like, are we thinking like? Are we saying like more people showed up because of this COVID situation? Like, they couldn't get out and vote, so it was like that was the only thing they could do?
Well, no, I'm saying it's easier because there was way more early voting, and there was the ability to vote by mail, because you don't actually have to go in somewhere to vote by mail. It's like, and
right.
people like convenience too. And it's
100%. We all know that. I mean, listen, all of us understand marketing in some way, shape, or form. So we all know convenience is fucking. That's the tits. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like think of it like DoorDash or something. Like, more people are going to order food for delivery if they can just, or even like delivery in general. Like, more people are going to order food if it's delivered to them rather than them having to go get it.
Facts. I understand that.
I think Sam Coppinger is in marketing as well. I think these guys would collaborate fantastically. I think they'd really.
Well, hey, look, you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't like line me up with other motherfuckers that and like kind of like assume what I'm doing, because here's the thing: is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pick your guys' brains, because I'm trapped in a country where no one speaks my language, so I'm trying to like communicate with people that I don't really have the option. I don't have the option to do that with very often. So that's kind of why I engage with these guys, and that's why I'm engaging with you now. So I wouldn't assume that that I have like I have some set goal or mission when it came to this. My goal is to kind of like, I respect these dudes. I respect what they're doing. And I just want to like, I wanted to speak to them and pick their brains, because I have some disagreements, but I'm not opposed to change. I'm not opposed to, an understanding or something, or figure something out. You know, like I'm not some motherfucker that just was in the woods and was like, oh, I got it, I got everything. You know, like I got it. You know, no,
Where
it wasn't like
are
that.
you trapped?
Well, I'm not.
Yeah,
really
what country?
Well, I'm not really trapped, but I'm in Poland now, and
Okay.
so I came over here to essentially what I do for a living is I run a small business that is focused on preserving small businesses. I run a media company that's developed. Basically, our whole goal is to provide the services that bigger companies can provide at a much cheaper cost to keep them floating, to keep them going. That's what I do. So that's why I came here. You know, and then this COVID shit hit, and then you don't really have an option to go anymore. Like before, it was like a nice little pipe dream, like, yeah, this is what you're gonna do, and then it's like, well, yeah, you don't have a choice in what you're gonna do anymore.
Now you're stuck there.
Yeah, like there's no going home, now. There's no going anywhere now. You know,
Oof.
so but I'm not sad or mad about that, because that's, it really was this is really my dream. Like, this is really what I believe in. I really believe that I can help these small businesses no matter what comes. Any of these little pipe dream, COVID fucking bullshit things that they want to present, I don't give a fuck. I believe that I can help these businesses get through it. Restaurant or not, I don't give a fuck. I understand marketing. I was through the .com era. I understand it all. Just like, tell me what we're facing, tell me where your money's at, and tell me what we got to do next. And then I can promise you we're going to figure it out.
What are your thoughts on Four Seasons Total Landscaping?
Damn, dog. I don't think that was the best place to throw a fucking, like a celebration party in front of,
Somebody has to tell me the inside joke about that.
If I had to just be 1,000 with you, dog, like, and I was talking about marketing, nigga, like, number one, I don't know who doused Rudy Giuliani's head with all that dye. Number two, nigga, a landscaping company is probably just not where you just roll the dice, like, that's just not where you do it. Like, you don't just be like, what, this whole thing is fake, and we're gonna do it all in front of a landscaping company. That's just not where you do it, bro. Like, maybe there's another place. I don't know.
Maybe an actual Four Seasons hotel.
Yeah, maybe I remember when we were kids and they used to give us medals and shit for like wrestling or whatever we did. Like it could have been dancing or just like talking or whatever, and they gave you medals, but they didn't do it in front of a landscaping company. I know that. I know that much about the world. Like, it wasn't some old woman with hair dye running down her cheeks, in like at a landscaping company, just like being like, you got to do better. I was like, I think I'm doing better than you. That's what I would have said.
Mr. Hudak, do we want to ask Mr. Lane, Mr. John Hudak, ask Mr. John Lane about his infatuation with the previous guest we had on our podcast, a specific Caitlin.
So that wasn't an infatuation. So, and I would address that right now. That wasn't necessarily an infatuation. I just, for example, I dislike that the Fakertarians and I guess I can't attack the two dudes, because these two dudes, their job is to basically fucking kind of like disseminate information. So I can't attack them. But the guest was full of shit. Why? And the guest constantly bullshitted and lied. And that could easily be proven with their own words. And it's the same reason why when it comes to the Libertarian Party, that I don't like this. Who's the running mate for this woman?
Spike Cohen?
Yeah, I don't like this motherfucker at all.
Why?
He's about as fake as it gets.
He's been on our show.
I know he has. I didn't comment because I was just going to say rage shit, like rage quit, hate type shit. So I never said nothing. I love you. Goodbye. Yeah, like, go to sleep. I understand.
I want to stay up a little later.
We could bring another guest on if you'd like them on.
No, we could bring. You know what I would love to do? I would love the opportunity to speak with Spike Cohen, because I think in a matter of moments that you would understand my position, and then I could logically dismantle him right before your eyes, and you would kind of understand what I see.
In what way?
If I was in a lot of ways. in pretty much every way, you know, and that's the problem is to try to tell you like which particular way that I would dismantle him. It would be kind of like rude. It would be speaking out of pocket. But if me and him were in the same room and we spoke about the same issues and we talked about the same things, you would see quite quickly how it would take place.
What if you were in different rooms, but you were on the phone?
I mean, that's a little gay, but either way, you know what I mean. All right, dickhead. All right, sorry. Okay, I misspoke. Of course, you're podcasters, so of course you're gonna catch on to every word. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And I don't mean it in a rude way. Like I'm not saying like I would just sit there and be like, you know, and I would just insult the guy. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, I wish to logically challenge him to his own ideals, and I believe that I would smash him before your very eyes. Same way you would see like a UFC fight. Somebody just gets knocked the fuck out and they're laying there like a zombie with their hands up in the air. That's how Spike would end up.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of shit. What?
Yeah, all right, so let me catch you up
I think
real
we
quick.
definitely have some content for a future episode.
Oh, you should have more than that. But third guest guy, and what's this guy's name? I don't want to be rude.
He's just one of my sock accounts. You can just call him
Okay.
sock account.
Third guest guy
Still
who has
college
the
guy.
shaky hippie face. It looks like
Hippie.
Junk Honda or whatever your name is. Junk Honda. Look, here's the thing: is that I just feel like I could logically smash Spike Cohen into a billion pieces of dust, and I could do it right before your eyes without being rude, mean, inconsiderate, or disingenuous at all. That's what I mean.
Kind of sounds like voter fraud.
You had to go there. You're like,
All voter fraud.
what? It does sound like a Donald Trump claim towards voter fraud. All right, fine, I'll give you that. Shoulders, you get that one, Shoulders. But do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but just logic versus logic. You know, I don't know how you guys grew up, but when I was a kid in school, logic, reason, and deduction were the things that you learned next to civics.
But
And
what
now,
go on.
and now these things are not taught.
But what
Logic,
did Spike do?
Say again.
What did Spike do exactly?
Well, it's more of like what Spike is versus what Spike did.
What is Spike?
Spike is the weld of Gary Johnson.
Why?
Why not?
I mean,
Ask me-
generally,
ask
when you
me-
have a claim, you have
ask me-
to.
All right. So you obviously remember the weld campaign. Talk.
I do.
Excuse me. Talk is Polish. Talk is yes. So when I say talk, I mean you understand. Yeah. So sorry. So if we remember Gary Johnson's campaign, good numbers, everything's going quite well, and then there's an interview. You remember this interview? And I know because I can see it on your fucking eyeballs right now. I can see it on your face. You know it's true. You know exactly which interview I'm talking about, yeah?
The one with the aliens, right?
Okay, dickhead. Okay. I mean, listen, I wasn't gonna hold it against you. You're a podcaster. What should I do? But you know which one I'm talking about.
With Spike won the
Hillary
election.
Hillary Clinton is the...
Oh, I thought you were talking about Spike. Yeah, the MSNBC Bill Weld one.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we'll get to Spike. We'll get to Spike and why he's the weld of Johnson for Joe in a moment. We'll get right there. But
Well, just 1 second. I there's something really important that needs to be
Okay.
addressed here. That's the kind of waiting. Our other guest, Mr. Matt over here, he had an apple pie that he's been enjoying for quite some time now, and I would like to know about this pie.
So the pie was a lie. It was actually a peach
oh
pie.
shit, there's fucking 5 of us on here. Jesus Christ, this is a mind boggle.
Yeah, we've had another guest this whole time.
Fuck me. See, this is what happens when you let motherfuckers like me who talk too much on this shit. And I apologize. Like, yeah,
That's all
I didn't
good.
know there was 5 of us.
Oh, I mean, it was
know.
a peach pie. I love peach pie though, so I'm not disappointed.
He got to enjoy his pie, and that's all that really
Yeah,
matters.
that's what matters in life.
He got his peach pie. He's having a good time. This
I
is
had-
fucking surreal. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Everybody else is enjoying it.
I think we've been live for almost 2 hours.
Well, I want to hear why Spike is like Weld.
Yeah, let's hear that.
What
Oh,
do
you're
you
ready?
exactly
You're
even
ready
mean?
for this muscles, huh? I see you. You're all gassed up. You're ready for this muscles.
Yeah.
As soon as this ends, you're gonna do like 1,000 push-ups. Okay. So why Spike is like weld? It's the same reason why every single libertarian who's ever got any traction has also always have a weld. Do you okay, all right. So let me ask you this just logically. There's 5 of you or 4 of you in this room with me. Are we all aware that the government decided at some point that the media was so important that there should be members of the government in the media? Do we all understand that? We don't have to name operation names and all this other gay shit that would happen on the
Yeah.
Adam vs. Man show.
What are you accusing Dave Smith of?
We don't have to go that route. Don't do this, muscles. Don't do this. Okay? I'm trying to get back to the story. I'm trying to get back to fucking dude. Okay? So what I'm saying is, look, the same way with Martin Luther, the same way with every movement that matters, the goal is to somehow subvert the movement. So let me ask you this. Before Joe Jorgensen meets Spike Cohen, what are the colors of that campaign? They're gold. And after Joe Jorgensen meets Spike Cohen, the colors of that campaign are blue and red. And they're not just any blue and red. And take it from somebody who designs websites and does marketing and advertising. Those are Republican red and blue to the core. And what was the reason given? They supposedly want to attract other members, like other people who are a part of these parties. Now, listen, on any other day of the week, this would have been fine. This would have been okay to accept. But this is 2020, and the entire world hates the Republican and Democrat Party. So what reason would we have to absorb these colors? And why would we do this?
Are you saying that Spike was working with the Republicrats, the duopoly?
No.
He just likes their colors.
Listen, I'm leading into the connection. It's like a setup, you know. I gotta bring you into my view. I gotta bring you into everything, right? Because you have to understand, this is the marketer's brain. So it's not just like a Spike versus Joe type of thing, or Spike is a bad guy type of thing. It's like imagine that there was something that was going to challenge the two-party system, right? And so what would be like, think of the art of war, okay, gentlemen? Think of the art of war, right? So what would be the most, I guess you could say, sufficient way of dismantling a third-party challenger based on what you know from the art of war?
Voter fraud.
By using the colors blue and red. I didn't fucking know. Oh my god.
Is it kind of like art because it's like colors, like you can paint and stuff?
You see, listen. See, this is why I know you guys ought to instead of going from straight, because this is your problem. You guys, oftentimes, you guys like to go with just like straight political facts, but you guys are comics, kind of like me. You guys also like the funny shit, and
Like
that's just
comic
a
Dave
fact.
Smith.
Okay, but you guys are definitely not as gay as Dave.
Wait.
Smith.
Have we made you laugh before at any point in time?
Dude, why do you think I called in here? Like, are you kidding?
Okay,
me? Muscle shirt
I
and the
need
ball
you to
dude
say it so we can
bust
prove
me
that
up
we're
every fucking night ball. Like, if it was a choice between Netflix and the muscle shirt and the fucking bald redheaded dude, I'm fucking choosing Fakertarians every night because it's the tits. Like it means something, you know. Like they're actually talking about shit. And I know I'm a dickhead, and I know I interrupt, and I know, you know, like I take away from what you guys are trying to do, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say there's other shit, you know, to pay attention to. That's it.
We appreciate the endorsement, and once again, I'm going to reiterate. I think you and James Ogle together on one podcast, that would be fucking amazing, dude. I think you guys would collaborate very well.
Well,
Yes.
you know what I think? I think you should stop hiding behind the screen because you got a phenomenal voice, and I could see you like in you know what I was thinking, like Lion King 2 or something, like Timon and Pumbaa type shit. Like I see you out there, you know.
What about a Tom Woods DVD about the Catholic Church being the builder of civilization?
What the fuck?
Dude, that you know what that sounds like, dude? That sounds like pedophilia to me, dude. Like Tom Woods telling me about I first and foremost, I don't even like his name. You know, I don't even like his name at all. Tom Woods, like what a fucking real rigid ass name.
You've made him angry.
Well, tell the Mises Caucus. You know, tell him.
I will.
Tell him. Tell old Joshua Smith or whatever his fucking name is.
That's his
You know?
name.
Tell him.
Oh,
Is
he
that his
doesn't
name?
exist anymore. Facebook got rid of him.
Oh yeah, did they delete him? Did he sniff some kids like Joe Biden or what happened?
He
Did it get all
monetized the
weird?
haters.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would do that too. You know, you can't always pay attention to the facts when you're trying to promote propaganda. You know, you gotta float the zingers.
Yeah,
You gotta bullshit a little bit.
that's what we do
I
here.
love that quote. You can't always pay attention to facts when you're trying to promote propaganda.
Exactly.
Fucking
I kind of like
put that on a shirt, man.
Isn't it good?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a
but
good
I do
one.
this for a living, though. I'm not joking when I say I do marketing. The main reason I wanted to speak with you guys at Fakertarians was because number one, your website looks like dog shit. It's just like trash. Like
Yeah.
seriously, I wouldn't even fucking get drunk and take a piss near your website.
Why?
Like,
What
because
would
it looks
happen?
like shit and it doesn't
But,
even
like,
do what
don't
it's.
you like piss in the toilet generally, and there's like shit in there?
No,
sometimes?
no. Like I'm a country motherfucker, so like I just
You
generally
don't have a
like
toilet?
I piss. No.
You don't.
What are you
There's
talking
no.
about? Like, it's,
You don't own a toilet.
imagine. All right. Hold on, muscles.
Are
Hold
you
on,
saying
muscles.
that you don't own a fucking toilet?
Listen, hold on.
We are
Number
hung
one.
up on this, and we are going to stay hung up on this until you answer.
All right, listen. Number one. Of course I'll answer. Do I look like a fucking politician? Of course I'll answer. So number one, look, this is Eastern Europe, bud. Okay. So no, as far as like drainage and the cess and all that. No, So you got the outhouses. Everything is like a Kiss concert out here. You got the sweet outhouses, and that's what you got.
So
And then-
that's kind of gross, right? Wouldn't that be better than the website, or wouldn't that be worse than the website?
All right, so you're not listening now. You're taking the analogies and the little jokes, and then you're driving it off into business. That's not how it works. What I'm trying to say about the website is that we could make a better website that was more functional. For example, like if you type in Fakertarians podcast on the internet, you don't even show up first.
I did when I just Googled it.
Did you? So, okay, that's cool.
On our website,
That
but
might
like
okay.
our
That
podcast.
might be. Listen, and you might be right. That might be geolocated. That's dope. But let's say this. Say we type in like political podcast, and then we include your location, like where you guys are from. And where do you show up? Nowhere.
Probably not very high.
You're nowhere. Is where you are. You're nowhere.
do.
You don't exist.
Wait. I think I get the gist of this. Are you trying to get us to hire you as a social media consultant?
No.
marketing
I'm saying that
consultant?
no. Actually, it would be quite opposite. I'm saying that I value your content so much that I would actually willingly give my labor to ensure that your content challenges people just like me. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like I would actually give up my time and energy from the projects and the missions that I have to ensure this type of content shows up in front of morons just like me, if that makes sense. I don't know if that sounds right.
I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah. Like I understand why I even connected with you guys in the first place, because it was like it was the same way you guys market it, like a little bit challenging to some libertarian perspectives. But then once I started to listen and shit, I was like, okay, I kind of understand what they're saying. I understand what they're getting at and why they. And the one thing that was always funny to me is how you guys make fun of Eric July. Dude, that's some funny ass shit to me. Like I can't remember like what it is. You guys do like some anime thing.
We
where
post
you guys
one
like
positive thing Eric July has done every Wednesday.
dude.
Happy Eric
but you
July
gotta-
Wednesday
Promised
sometime.
him.
Very
We
positive
promised that
moment.
we would do that.
But you gotta understand, dude. This is to me like because you know that Eric July blocked me like I don't know, fucking like 2010, dog. He
Yeah.
blocked me so long ago.
Oh damn.
Eric July probably forgot about me, but he knows my proxies and all my like little fake accounts. I'm sure.
Yeah, he's actually behind the voter fraud.
Dude, who gives a fuck? The funniest thing about this guy, dude, is that it's just like the way you guys present him. Like it's Happy Tuesday. Yay, Eric July. Like what's the positive thing? Like, dude, this shit breaks up my soul every time I read this. I I cannot laugh about this enough. Like every time I see those comics with that little anime woman and and happy day Eric July, like oh dude, this is like a fucking this is like a soul ringer for me. Like I love it. I love it so much. Seriously, dude. Like out of all the things that it like made me want to pay attention to this podcast, not just the shit you were talking about, but it had to be the insults towards Eric July. Yeah, I smoked too much weed.
You have COVID.
No, I smoked too much weed, dude. It's too much weed. And you know what? The thing, if I had to be 100% honest with you guys, is this is Eastern Europe. I don't even really know what the fuck is in their weed over here. You know, this is like we're real close to Russia. It could be COVID. Who knows?
It's Russian collusion.
I think, yeah, the thing the Russians are colluding to put COVID in the weed. It's very possible.
My team, dude, is that one bitch who saved Michael Flynn. What's that bitch? She looks like a horse.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
She looks like a horse. You know, she saved Michael Flynn, but she looks like a horse.
She was in Sex in the City.
No, that bitch eats a lot of sweets, and I really don't like her because she sounds like Fran from
Nanny.
from that one. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm talking like the bitch who saved Michael Flynn. What's her name? She looks like a horse. She was just on TV.
Yeah,
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sydney Powell. Who said that? Sydney Powell.
I did.
5 points. Muscle shirt -5. You fucked up.
Are you telling me Sarah Jessica Parker doesn't look like a horse? Because I would beg to differ.
Okay, nobody said that. I'm just fucking saying we were shooting for completely different pictures. Okay, you know everybody knows. You know, could you even imagine that getting near your wiener? I would be terrified. I would be fucking terrified. It'd be detrimental to everyone. All right, you would never want that type of beak getting near your, you know,
what?
The nest. Okay. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it the nest. But yeah, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that. Never.
I'm glad that somebody's looking out for my nest. I really appreciate it.
Well, if not me, then who? You know, who's gonna do it?
I'm just wondering what all these birds are doing in my nest because birds aren't real.
Yeah, have you heard about the microchipped analog fucking digital birds? You heard about all that?
Birds aren't real.
Dude, I know.
All on the dark web, dude. They're all robots, bro. They're just watching you.
Right. They're not real.
Dude, we got this microchipped ant in our group all the time.
Dev, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got that microchip on that leaf.
So now we're on to the microchipped ants because I wanted to talk about that.
I think we do need to wrap it up. Maybe save it for another time.
It's a sad story, but I understand. You know, listen,
we've been live for 2 hours, so
we'll give them a closing statement.
Here's the last thing I'll say. Number one, this podcast, and the people that run this podcast, these people are fucking awesome.
Thanks.
They're fuck you. I'm not even talking to you. Shut up.
I run this podcast.
I know, but shut up, bitch. This is like a compliment that you're supposed to hear after.
I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had the best podcast of all time.
But dude, that bitch sounds like a horse too. I don't even want to hear about her. Okay. So, all right. So let's just go from the top. Okay. Look, we'll go. Look, muscle shirt, little bit of a dick, but he's a cool guy. Okay. You know what I mean? He's not always a bitch. He has he's got some good points. He's got some good points, and he'll fucking, he's not an emotional bitch. He'll let you, he'll say some funny shit against you, and then he'll let you come back. So he's not a dickhead. So kudos to muscle fucking shoulders, sweet muscle shoulders they are. And then bald redheaded dude, who looks like a bouncer I used to work with back at the club when I was selling like cocaine and shit. That nigga, he just looks like he's kind of like the reason behind everything, like he just doesn't take no shit. Like he knows that I'm about to say some funny shit and Muscle Shirts is about to say some funny shit. And then here comes the reason, he's just like, hold up, boys, try to keep it together for the, for the public or whatever, whatever people with red hair say. I don't know. Nigga. I don't even have red hair. I never even met anybody with red hair. My mama had red hair once, but
you never met her?
No, I think she dyed it, bro. I think it was like dyed hair. I don't think it was real red hair. It's not the same as what he's got. That's real red hair. That's like that. Like you could see the struggle in his hair. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you could tell that nigga had to fight when he was a kid. Like one day he went out to the bus and his mama gave him like $250, or whatever. And then, somebody was like, fuck you, you filthy ass red haired motherfucker. Give me that money, And he was like, no, and he fought back, And so, I think that's a good story. I think that's a real good story. I think it's a real good story. But the main point is that both you guys are good dudes. You put up with about a bunch of like interference into what the fuck you're trying to do. And I appreciate that. It's not real common amongst podcasters. And first and foremost, I just want to say I was never trying to shit on what you guys were doing. I just wanted to add value. And I thought both of you guys were dope. I liked your perspectives. I liked what you guys were saying. And we might have had like some small disagreements, but I felt like if I interrupted, it wasn't something that I was going to take away from you. It was like I could add some value, and so that's the only reason I ever really commented, and that was it.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. So that was it.
Definitely. Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then on the leaving note, since there's probably other people listening, I would say this: like, just keep listening to these guys because it's real hard for most of you motherfuckers, because most of you motherfuckers are retarded, like super retarded, and this is like a good place for you guys to find like a little bit of logic, like a little bit of reason in your life, and stop listening to the retards, just maybe listen to the Fakertarians and just see what the fuck they got to say. I mean, both of them are retarded too, but maybe you come out with like, I don't know, what do they call it? What do they call it when, like a little bit of scent? Yeah, voter fraud. Fuck me. How did I know you were coming clean with that one? All right. Yeah, we call this, they'll just sprinkle a little voter fraud on you, That's all.
Right.
And you get it. But so I love you guys, and then go ahead and send off. But the bottom line is, this is a great podcast. You got good guests, and I like what you guys are doing. And I won't always interrupt, but I'll always be here to talk some shit.
All right. Well, thanks to Matt and then John for coming on with us today. It was definitely a good time, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Sounds good,
Later.
you guys.
Fakertarians, baby. Subscribe.
Buy shirt, get money. No, other way. We get money. You send money, we get shirt.